Welcome to Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast. I am your host, Dave West, codename Phantom Troublemaker.
And I'm your co-host, Noel Wood, codename Crapshoot.
And I'm your Cobra intern who takes the good, he takes the bad. But I do not ever want Tomax and Zaymot to explain the facts of life to me again.
Oh, no.
Again.
That sounds
It
terrible.
was not good.
So, it's Tuesday night, not our usual night. There's a lot going on in the world of G.I. Joe live streams this evening. Hooded Cobra Commander currently has one going on, which I guess I shouldn't mention, but I mean, honestly, if you want to go watch it, go watch it. And then at 9, What's on Joe Mind is going to be starting their live stream. So for anybody that's here with us, thank you very much. We appreciate you being here. Anybody who was not able to be here live due to other obligations or just due to other fandoms, you can catch the audio version this Friday, wherever you get your podcasts, or this version will live on forever right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. You can check us out on Instagram at Audible Interlude Podcast. That's where you can participate in the show by commenting on the Sound Off post. Every day we're doing a live stream. That's where you can contribute to what we talk about this evening. And while you're there, check out our pinned stories where you can get your own Audible Interlude merchandise and help support the show. This t-shirt is still available, although I finally realized what we need in the way of new shirts is the new logo that's in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, designed by our pal Slickalicious. Check out Shop Slickalicious on Instagram as well. So I think this weekend I'm going to throw up new shirts with that new logo on it. You'll notice it's a little cleaner. It's angled a little bit. It's a little more dynamic than the old logo that I made up on my own. And I think I did a pretty good job. But this one, my gosh, it's a work of art. It's a thing of beauty. So that needs to be on a t-shirt. Wow. Kristian, Noel, how are you fellas doing? Have you also been quarantining for the past 5 days?
No, but the wife has been running a fever. I've been coughing, so I'm no COVID yet.
Yeah.
But hopefully not. Knocking wood.
Yeah, I got last Thursday. I started feeling not great, but it was right as we got that cold snap here in Georgia. Uh-oh. Speaking of not feeling great,
we've lost him.
Kristian's just out. We got that cold snap here in Georgia, so I thought, because now, I'm an old man now, and seasonal changes affect me in ways that they didn't used to. So I get the sniffles, and I start to feel not great, and then I get used to it. And that's all I thought it was. And then Friday, I woke up and I was like, I'm really not feeling good. I went to the doctor, and I don't think the doctor has ever administered a COVID test to me before. They do strep and they do the flu, but this is the first time they've given me a COVID test, and it was positive. So I had to not immobilize, isolate. Although I was basically immobilized also for 5 days. And today is my last day of isolation. I've been working from home the last 2 days, and I'm still working from home right now because we do this every time we do a live stream. I work from home. We have new skills now. Thor Golden Cub in the super chat. First of all, everything from the super chats now is going to go to making a new run of these hats. This was kind of a special deal that I tried out. I was like, let's see if we can get some hats made, and we could. But I would like to get a lot more hats made. It's not something we can do through TeePublic, who sells our T-shirts. This is something I've got to just pay to get done. So every super chat we get is going towards a new run of hats that we will turn around and sell back to you. So that's just how capitalism works, boys and girls. But Thor Golden Cub,
nice new clean logo as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they will have the new logo on them. Hi, all. Great to see you. What do you think about Super 7 Joes being found at Walmart? I've seen a snake eyes and a bat there. Good health to everyone. My health is definitely better. We talked about this a little bit last time, but it's great. More Joe anywhere is good. More Super 7 anywhere is good. Walmart is the biggest toy retailer in America, or North America, or the world, maybe. I don't know. So it's good. Noel, you've actually seen stuff. I haven't been in a Walmart honestly, since we talked about it.
Yeah, last night, just in Decatur, Georgia, I found Snake Eyes and Cobra Commander Super 7 reaction figures, and I didn't take them to the register because I've got them both, but I scanned them with the app, and they both came up at like clearance prices. One was like $15.99, and the other one was like $16.44. So they're not typically priced, but I don't know what they would ring up at the register.
Not the Ultimates.
No, not the Ultimates. These were the reaction figures.
Yeah, and people have been finding the Ultimates as well, though.
Yeah,
I think it's
including
great.
SDCC exclusive Ultimates, which is bizarre still to me.
Yeah, that one is a weird one. It's not unprecedented, but it is odd.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly, Super 7 has a lot of that stuff to move out, as Brian Flynn has mentioned. And if we get Kristian back, he's got some more Brian Flynn oriented details.
Yeah,
but
we haven't even gotten a message from him. So hopefully
no, we haven't.
He's okay.
Well,
hopefully the Fatal Fluffies didn't get him.
Well, something tells me the Fatal Florida might have gotten him. Speaking of Super 7, let's check in on the Cobra mothership.
Ooh, I looked this morning. It, I think, was the same number it was a week ago.
I don't think they're updating it, which seems really weird. Yeah, it's been at 1429 for like 2 weeks. I think they're just not updating it, or it's just not going to move until the day before the final day. We'll see what happens.
Which will be disappointing. Like I said, I can't justify buying it, but I'd love to see it get greenlit and get those O-ring figures out and see what happens from there.
If it gets made, I have to have it, so I'm going to back it. But if it doesn't get made, it's not going to break my heart to not spend $600+ on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say I'm ambivalent, but I'm not going to be crushed.
I mean, you can't really have FOMO if it doesn't get made, right?
Right, exactly. So our next live stream is going to be on November the 20th. We will be doing a Black Friday special of sorts, even though it's not on a Friday. Black Friday is that week, so we're going to be talking. I don't know quite what we're going to do yet. We got a couple ideas. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then next week we are doing a very special Thanksgiving show with our fellow podcasters. Clown is Down. A couple of guys that Noel, you've known basically since you were in the womb, and and I've known for 25-ish years now. You've been on their show, right?
I actually have not. I was supposed to be on their show about Dragon Con, and it just never worked out for me to get there.
Oh, okay. That's what I was thinking of. So they're great, and they're basically planning out our show. So we're going to have a completely new perspective and format on what we're doing next week. It's going to be really exciting. And that's our audio episode that'll be available that Friday, wherever you get your podcast. Look who's back. Our Cobra intern has made it back in, fought his way through the alligator infested waters of the Florida internet.
My internet right now, thank you, Florida, is a swamp tree and 2 coconuts. And coconuts aren't even native to Florida.
Those dreadnoughts are down there messing with the lines again, aren't they?
Well, we'll later in the episode, I might have a little bit of somebody who might be able to help you out with a solution for that. I've got a, as often happens, there's a little bit of kismet tonight. And I've got a theme for a couple of things we're going to be talking about. Let's see who we got in the chat. Mandalorian Jedi. Yes, of course it's time. Although, Mandalorian Jedi, where was your long-winded sound off this week? After last week, I understand if you had to rest.
You needed a break. Yeah.
That was I get it.
I've
Kevin
read
Riddle,
novels that were shorter than that.
Kevin Riddle is here. Yorktown Joe is here. Silent Interlude. What's up? And Thor Golden Cub. Welcome back, Kristian Cobra intern. Oh, and actually, while you were gone, I think, Kristian, look at this in the super chat.
Oh, wow. Super chat. Thanks, Will.
And this is going to the Hat Fund. We are doing a new run of hats with the new logo. All right. Well, guys, now that we've got all our introductions done and we're all here having fun, I think it's time for news. Look at that banner. I love this.
So professional.
All right. So Walmart exclusives are shipping. Most people have the newest or the current ones in hand. You know what's weird though, you guys? I have never seen Zartan, Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes, or the Crimson Guard in a store in Walmart. They've still got plenty of Gung Ho and of course Lady J and Destro.
Baroness.
I don't see Baroness as much. Oh, look at this. We got another one in the super chat. Craig Dukas, what is up? Everybody, like I said earlier, everybody check out Slickalicious on Instagram. Shop Slickalicious on Instagram. Yes, the chat is evolving.
Well, yeah, I haven't gotten my retro Zartan yet in the mail either.
Oh, really?
No, it never did ship. So I've got my Crimson Guards, but I never got my retro Zartan.
See, as much as I like the color changes or the Master of Disguise Zartan, that retro actually ended up being my favorite. It just looks so good on the shelf.
I need to check on my order again.
So anyway, yeah, never saw those, but now shipping are the moly rats with their wonderful glow-in-the-dark bits. The review is going up next week right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. I absolutely love this figure. I love the alternate head of hideousness. Look at that face. Truly disturbing.
Only a mother could love.
That's right.
He looks like Clint Howard.
He does look like Clint Howard, which makes me love him even more. Hi, Clint. And then we also have our Crimson Alley Viper, which I almost didn't even order. And now, and this, of course, there's a little recency bias here, but this might be my current favorite troop builder. I just really, really like the look, the design of this figure. And you guys know I like the wild colors that pop on the shelf, but the way that this one is put together, I just really like it, man. Now, Kristian, I know I broke you down and you ended up ordering one, right?
Yes. And so I want to jump back to your comment about the retros. Keep in mind, whatever wonkiness is going on with my internet, you guys are still kind of digitized. So if you already said this, I'm sorry, but I'm good at repeating. Anyway, it surprises me that in the Walmart stores that Baroness and Lady J are still ringing up at full price, because if you go on Walmart.com, Lady J is now $10, Baroness is $14, Destro's $14, Gung Ho I think is at $17, but like they're clearanced on the website, but they're not clearanced in the store.
I think
make sense, Walmart.
I think you can get them on Amazon for like $15.
They are
sure
clearancing them in the sense that they're putting the yellow stickers on them and sticking them on the clearance aisle, but at full price.
Right. Yeah, that stuff drives me crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that Walmart needs to move some stock out.
And you can still get mole rats, by the way, on Walmart.
Yeah, they're still available. I think all three of these are still available for
Range Vipers totally gone, but mole rats still there.
I only got from this assortment, I just got Shooter, and I think she's wonderful. I think she's a great figure.
Oh well,
I agree. I was so blown away.
Interesting. Shooter is at the end of the review. I felt underwhelmed.
Really?
And it's not that I don't like the figure. There's just something. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's not. There's not anything missing because she's got a killer rifle. She's got a great portrait.
And I think the rifle looks great, like slung across her back with her carrying other weapons.
That clip, I don't love anything like this. Kind of bugs me a little bit.
Well, I said if the rifle's on her back, it doesn't bother me at all. That's the way I've got mine posed currently.
But she got a nice
come on,
pistol.
she's wearing look at her shoes.
Yeah, I
She's
like the sneakers, the combat sneakers or whatever. Like, I like the figure, but just as I was going over it, I don't know. There's just something doesn't grab me about it. It's not bad, but it just doesn't dazzle me, and I don't know why. I don't know why that is.
I said I have not been.
And Daniel Rodriguez, why can't we have both?
I mean, if I had to choose between them, I would choose Shooter because she doesn't have gigantic cavernous holes in her shoulders. Yeah, I mean, I need to have both of them. If they repaint this is Craig Dukas. If they repaint the Alley Viper again, I'd really appreciate some grappling line like what's included with Wolf Spider. Yeah, and that's the loops are there on the grappling hook and on the rifle for that. I would like to see that. If they do a repaint of the Alley Viper, what color would you guys like to see?
Python Patrol.
Well, there was another Alley Viper in the vintage line.
I don't know.
Which was yellow and black. And I think that might be interesting. They may wind up doing that.
I would like to see a blue one with maybe like gray camo. I don't know. I'd like to see something blue. I've never seen a blue Alley Viper, so I drew a blue Alley Viper.
You know what I would like to see, based off of what Craig pointed out? I would like to see, I don't know, Tomax and Zaymot have a grappling line like they should have come with.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was the first thought that crossed my mind when he mentioned the grappling hook was, oh yeah, Tomax and Zaymot could use one too. Yeah, the Alley Viper, there was the blue Alley Viper that had the shield that was the Cobra symbol. I love that Alley Viper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there are a lot of options that would be cool. I don't know. Now that you said the yellow, though, I kind of like the idea of you said yellow and gray?
He's yellow and black.
Yellow and black?
Yeah,
that'd be interesting, although that might be a little close to some of the Night Force themed stuff. Oh, no.
No, he's very
Mandalorian Jedi. But which one would be more obnoxious? The version 1 Alley Viper or Slaughter's Marauders Alley Viper?
Oh, Lord. You know what? Having the barbecue, though, I like the way they did the Slaughter's Marauders barbecue. I don't hate that color scheme, so I don't know, man.
Right, but you don't like Shooter, so we know where you're.
It's not that I don't like Shooter
right now.
Well, but you know what? That does line up with my opinion on Night Force in general. It's not the most exciting thing to me. We got somebody new here hanging out, Robert Streben. My first time that I was able to make it to a live stream. Yo, Joe and or Cobra to you all. Welcome, Robert. Thanks for checking in. Rachel is here. Shooter's a little light on accessories. And maybe that's part of it is she comes with, like, the gas mask is really cool, but her portrait is so good, I'm not going to display her with the gas mask. And then she's got the extra head of hair. So it feels like she came with a couple of things that I don't care about. And that's that's me. That's not the figure. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's not, like I said, it's not a bad figure.
I was a little, the two hair pieces, like coming with one, I get.
Well, the one, because the gas mask is in, also part of that too.
Right.
So
she's got 3 total.
But yeah, she's got the third one too.
Right, she's got 3 total. The gas mask I count as separate.
Yeah.
If they were dynamically different, I could understand.
Yeah, I don't get why the braids and the ponytail, like they're so similar. I don't
Mhm.
quite understand what they went for there. Look, if she had like a cool brown leather jacket and some like white wrist guards and some yellow orange pants. Oh wait. Oh look here. We're good. We're good to go. I'm fine. Never
Maybe
mind.
she needed an owl. She needed an animal.
You know what? You're not
companion.
wrong. That would actually be cool. Like an owl with a little laser pointer on it, like a spotter.
Right, because
I'd be
owls
down
see
with
in the
that.
dark. So
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, but then she'd be a pet figure and she'd cost $35 or $40,
Oh,
$42 or whatever it is. So
Okay, let's see. Thor Golden Cub. It looks like Classified is really dipping into the obscure figures. How long do you guys think it will take for them to get to Cobra Law? Of course, Super 7 was destined to make Cobra Law figures. I think by 2025. Well, okay. So look, if there's certainty on the part of Linney and Company that the line is going to make it to 2027, then 40th anniversary Cobra Law Classified figures, I think, are a lock. But, that's 4 years from now.
I think we'll get them before then because
I think so too.
look, we know that Emily and Lenny secretly listen to this podcast because every
Huge
obscure
fans.
figure
Yeah.
that we've pushed for has gotten released way sooner than we thought. So
this evidence
once we
right
have-
here, I reviewed this figure on the Needless Things YouTube channel, and the next week, Lenny held it up on a live stream and looked me dead in the eyes. So, I mean, what more do you need than that? This is all
you
pure
and your pillow talk.
This is all pure fantasy, by the way. None of this is true at all.
that is in my top 3 of costumes that I have built and worn exactly one time. Is that Battle Core Leatherneck?
If you don't want it, I'll buy it from you. I would love to have that.
One day I'm going to get back into it again.
Let's see. Oh, interesting. Robert Streben, just to let everyone know, you can put Firefly's handheld remote in the strap on his left leg, and it fits fine. Yeah, and you know what? That's true. All that kibble that drives me so crazy, it does have some stretch to it, and you can kind of wedge things in there if you want to. So, not a bad call. All right, so a good batch of figures. Oh yeah, one more, just an update for anybody who saw my review of Agent Helix. I got my replacement from Big Bad in just a couple of days, and she does have the correct number of right thighs. This figure I love. I was not super stoked because just the images weren't really exciting, but I really dig this figure. I'm very happy with how Helix turned out.
I was secretly hoping that the replacement they sent you was going to be the one that had two
left thighs.
Two left thighs this time.
Well, I mean, it still would have worked. I would have just swapped them because it's not super hard to do. Well, no, that knee would have been a pain to deal with. So, yeah, I wouldn't have wanted to do that. That would have been hilarious. Noel needs to cosplay as Lenny next.
I mean, I've got the same Dreadnought shirt he has. I'll just wear that and the black cap, and I'm good, right?
That's all you need. You're good. All right, so let's talk about quality a little bit because we have in the past few weeks we've talked about how the line at this point has gotten so big that the singular oversight that we had at the beginning just can't be maintained now, and we're seeing little things here and there that are for several waves now. Going all the way back to the CoverGirl wave. The quality is just not as consistent as it was with the first several waves. And I'm not saying it's okay, but unfortunately, the classified line has gotten so big now that it's just going to be like any other line. Like if you look at Marvel Legends, there's inconsistent quality there. Yesterday I ordered, this was $10 on Amazon, the Ironheart figure. It's one of the best Marvel Legends figures ever made. The quality is incredible. It's an amazing figure. And then right around the same time, they put out a bunch of figures with really rubbery elbows and knees and like bad paint jobs. It's just the size of these lines just means that stuff is going to slip through, and it's unfortunate. But yelling at fellow toy collectors about it is not going to get Hasbro to fix it, nor will it convince Hasbro to lower their prices.
And something I learned recently, now I don't know how it is with Hasbro, because this was coming from like one of the smaller independent toy makers. But most toy companies still, like at this point, China is still kind of like blocked off. So they don't have their representatives in those factories on a consistent basis,
Right.
like they did before. So I'm gonna cut them some slack and say that's why some of this quality control stuff is getting through. But it's a very thin line.
And look, very little of it is egregious. To me, in my opinion, so let's talk about this a little bit. In my opinion, that Firefly that I got with the huge gap in his waist and the floppy abdomen is the worst quality classified figure in my opinion, I have reviewed. What for you guys, what has been the biggest miss in your opinion? See, it's not that easy because usually it's just one little thing.
I still got to go back to Dusty. The way his hat fits on, how we had to have like a fan created solution to keep his helmet to stay on his head properly. And probably because he's one of my least favorite lines in the figure least favorite figures in the line thus far.
Yeah, and that plays a part in it too. How much you like the character could make something seem worse or not as big a deal, depending on what that thing is. If Firefly had some, knee and elbow joints that were a little gummy, maybe I wouldn't be as bothered about it. But since I see that construction is such a fatal flaw on my literal favorite character, then it's a huge problem. Kristian,
for me, I don't even think it's not even a figure that I got. It's a figure that Dave had, and the different colored elbows on your Outback.
Oh yeah, those were pretty brutal.
Like that is just like how.
And then Christmas 8 pointing out, of course, I think the one we all agree with about Falcon's head.
Yeah.
And then just that, the like unpainted heads in that wave too. They just look different than the rest of the figures.
They do. They definitely have a different look. Oh wait, the comments moved while I was trying to highlight something. Michael Carter, Zorena's left arm. Some people had an issue with that. I didn't have any problems with that one, but I know it popped off for some folks. Mandalorian Jedi, do we need an American Hero Made in America line? If you want to pay 3 times as much for the figures, absolutely. Let's go. But I have this weird sense that Joe fans are resistant to higher prices. I don't know where I would get that idea. Yorktown Joe, not on topic, but Noel's Stinger shirt looks great. Noel's shirts are always on topic. Okay, so moving on. Just like I said, every line it has ups and downs once it gets as big as the classified line is now, and it's just how it is. And yelling at each other about it is not going to solve any problems. We got emails. Did you guys both get the email about the HasLab Hiss Tank?
About verifying your shipping information?
Yes. Verify your shipping information by November the 24th. If you have not received your email, you can still go to Hasbro Pulse and just double check your order, double check your shipping information. And if you don't know, if you go to Hasbro Pulse on your on the actual desktop site, there is a search function in the orders that's not in the Pulse app. So if you're only using the app, you don't have the search function. But if you go to a desktop, you can search for Hiss and just look your order up, because their organization is not great on that site. But yeah, go verify your order even if you haven't received that email. Let's see here. Thor Golden Cub. Noel, will we see you at Toylanta 2024? I'll be there. Yes,
Wouldn't miss it.
Noel and I will both be there. Mezco Roadblock, the 112 Collective Roadblock is shipping. They started charging for them yesterday, and because it was my old card, my charge did not go through. I went and updated my payment information and got another email today saying my charge didn't go through. So I will keep everyone updated as to the saga. I've sent them 2 emails and I tried to call them and have gotten no response, which is unusual because in the past I have found Mezco's customer service to be very helpful and very quick. So maybe they're having other issues. I don't know. So I may or may not end up with a 112 Collective Roadblock. We'll see. Ultimates Wave 3 from Super 7 are still showing for November from Big Bad Toy Store, which is earlier than Super 7's projected date, but that goes along with how things have been going for the past couple of years. So hopefully I'll be reviewing those soon, although my gosh, I don't need any more product coming in right now.
Well, and you just talking about the Super 7 Ultimates, we would have to mention that Big Bad Toy Store having that ridiculous sale on Super 7 products, picked up a couple of the Ultimate Bats for $22 each. So I was like, gotta have them at that price.
Yeah, I still haven't actually bought anything, but I have put about a dozen different things in my cart and then taken them back out, because even $20 at this point, with as much stuff as coming out between now and the end of the year, even $20, I'm like, maybe I don't need to spend that right now.
Yeah, I said I was no interest in those figures at regular retail price, especially not if you're buying them direct from Super 7 and paying another $15 to ship them.
Right.
But at that price, that's
Oh, yeah.
less than a classified figure.
Well, and you're not collecting 18 other lines, and you have a focus that I lack. You could have bought 10 bats and been probably fine. And then finally, I've got, we only have one slide for the news this week, and it's just something that I saw on Instagram that I wanted to share with everybody. Tell me, guys, what do you think of that? Keep your Dreadnought motorcycles. I want this Dreadnought trike by Mark II Designs. This was made for... Oh gosh, what was the convention that just happened? Articulated something?
Assembly Required.
Assembly Required. He made this for Assembly Required. Mark II Designs. I bought other thing. I bought the Sunbow style rifles, couple of jump jet packs. I bought a few different items. Very high quality, good stuff. And he made this and is considering going into production and selling these Dreadnought trikes. And I really want one. I don't know what the price point would be, but that thing is awesome.
Yeah.
Kristian, this seems like it would be right up your alley.
It should be, but right now I'm having to use my imagine. There we go. See, all I needed to do was start to complain. That is awesome.
Sometimes it works. Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love this. And look at
I mean, the snake head for the headlight. Because when you said trike, I literally thought you were talking about the Dreadnought cycle.
Oh yeah.
That they made that looks, but that looks honestly like every 3-wheeler on a farm that I saw back in Kentucky.
Well, and it looks like something that very easily could have existed in Sunbow.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's
Like I
got
had to rack my brain to remember if this is something from Sunbow.
well, they had trikes in with
The
Battle on the Roof of the World or whatever,
Yeah,
but they didn't have the Cobra headlight.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was from that when they were dragging around the piece of the Weather Dominator,
Yeah, but this
the
is
power
actually
core or whatever it was.
mind
So are
blowingly.
the tires 3D printed plastic? Because they
They
look
look like rubber.
rubbery.
They do, but that would be if they're tooling those out of rubber. That's pretty impressive.
Well, I don't. If my guess would be he found the right size tire,
Right,
a-
like an RC car.
right,
tire.
right.
hmm
But he said
Yeah.
he is looking into producing these, so I am excited. I can't. I'm sure it's going to be more than I'm willing to pay, but I still am very curious to see.
Yeah.
Toy
mean-
Reclaimer has arrived.
Woohoo! Do you think it would be because their prices are, I think, fair?
Very reasonable, yeah.
Do you think it'll be the same or slightly less than what Gridiron is charging for the pack rat?
Looking at this thing, looking at the paint on it, I feel like it's got to be $100 to be worth
Absolutely.
him doing it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. It's on Instagram. Check out Mark II Designs.
Did everybody see the replacement weapon for Mutt that was being offered?
Yes, from Marauders.
Yeah, and it's ridiculously cheap too. So
yeah, it's $1.99. It's Mutt's. Was it a Mac 10? What is?
Yeah, it's a little Mac 10, and it's got dog bones.
And it comes with 3 dog biscuits too, with a little M on them. There, it's great.
Yeah.
I almost ordered a couple, and then I was like, "Oh wait, there's actually some other Marauder stuff I know I need to order." So I'm waiting until I get my list to put my order in. But yeah, for $2, absolutely. All right. Well, we've got something a little different that we're going to do for the next few minutes here. So last week was our 100th episode, and we got through a lot of the content that I wanted to talk about. But, you know, we've got more that I wanted to discuss about the past 100 episodes that we've done. And I've just got did you guys get a chance to look at the little list I sent out?
There was a lot on that list.
There was a lot.
I kind of browsed it a little bit, but
we're not going to hit everything. There're just a few bullet points I want to talk about because, like, we've been doing this for a little over 3 years, but some of this stuff feels like it's 10 years old. The first news we ever discussed was the Super 7 Bat Super Cyborg, which doesn't seem that long ago to me.
No, like I felt like that was something we talked about way later than that.
Right. But then on January 4th, 2021, we were talking about whether we would like to see a reaction line from Super 7, which seems like an eternity ago.
Yeah. Well, how many waves are we at this point?
What, 7? 7 or 8, I think?
Yeah, that's insane.
It's incredible. In less than 3 years, they have put out, I think, 7 mainline waves of products, all kinds of special releases, a vehicle. They have a crowdfund that we'll see.
There are more Super 7 reaction Joe toys than there are probably like the next 5 lines combined, I feel like. Because, you know, most Super 7 reaction toys, you know, there's a small group of figures they put out because it's usually something from like a movie or from something like fairly niche thing. But with G.I. Joe, they got all these characters. So
yeah,
keep coming.
Whatever you think of the line, they've done an impressive job of getting them out. It's also funny to look back. November the 2nd of 2020, we were talking about how we expected Yojo.com to die any day now.
I mean, it's limping.
So
it hasn't been updated in 3 years.
Well, right, but we still use it twice a month for our segments. It's still there. So 3 years passed. It's Yojo.com is the TNA of G.I. Joe websites.
Oh.
TNA Wrestling, that is, for those that
Which
don't know.
Which is back, baby.
Which is back. Well, it'll be back in January. I will be getting that pay-per-view, absolutely. Oh, boy, this one's a little sad. May the 7th of 2021. O-Ring is not dead. Hasbro hears the demand and is excited about it. Womp, womp, womp.
3 minutes later.
Right. Kristian, was there anything on this list that kind of jumped out at you?
Well, the one thing that stuck out the most to me is how long we've been doing this. Because when I think of the Ultimate and all that being announced in 2020, and now obviously with everything that was going on with the world, delays are understandable, but it seems like we just got them. But as far as the O-rings are not dead, they may not be dead, but Hasbro has put them in the old folks' home and is just kind of ignoring them until the stink gets too bad.
Oh, no.
Mm.
Or, well, I don't know. Or they potentially have sent them off to live with relatives.
I really wish I could have understood that.
Poor Kristian. Our Cobra intern is struggling tonight. So
We talked about
Don't
that
move
Lady,
to Florida,
that Lady J
kids.
show. Talked about that Lady J show in March of 2021. That still can't wait for that to happen.
yeah, right.
And that was actually getting picked up by major news outlets that they were going to do a Lady J show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
And
yeah. That was a thing. I mean, that was going to be
heard a
the
thing
big
since
G.I.
then.
Joe revival. June 7th of 2021, I first publicly declared my love for Lenny. That was a nice moment for all of us. I expect a gift in a few months here for that public confession. So July 15th, Super 7 dives in with Ultimates and Reaction. And that was all of our talk prior to that had been, are they going to do an Ultimates line? Are they going to do a Reaction line? I don't think we assumed they were going to do both. So
No.
I remember they had a social media thing where they were promoting July 15th, 7/15, big announcement, G.I. Joe. We followed along, and sure enough, it was Ultimates in Reaction. And what I said about it at the time was, look at it this way. This is not a new line of G.I. Joe figures. This is characters from G.I. Joe being adapted into an existing line. Like when G.I. Joe had Street Fighter characters. Dalzim couldn't stretch, and M. Bison was the same size as everyone else because they were adapting the characters to the form of the existing toy line. Do the same people complaining about this complain about Pops?
I mean, I complain about Pops, but that's a whole different thing.
I actually I had to message Noel once because they had
It was
Billy
the
Madison in the
Billy Madison
bathtub.
in the bathtub.
Yeah, and I was so tempted to get that for you. But I will check with people before I buy them a new format of toy because I don't want to get anybody addicted to anything.
The only Pops I have in this house are somewhere in this Optimus Prime cabinet back here. And it's only because I got one for like half price at a comic book store one time.
Well, and that's Prime. You kind of needed
I mean,
that.
I collect Optimus Prime, so I had to have every version I could.
Mandalorian Jedi, I can't believe that I've only been with y'all for less than a year, but apparently I'm already at my yearly character limit on your Instagram comments. Weird. I believe
That's
that.
why I didn't post anything today.
Yorktown Joe, in that analogy, is Super 7 providing foster care for O-rings? Are they Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru? Nah, that would make O-rings Luke, and he never had an O-ring. Oh, don't get me started on Star Wars O-rings and how much I wanted those when I was a kid. Oh, man. Let's see here. Our first RoboSkull Mark II news came on October 1st of 2021, which more RoboSkull should be coming really soon. November of 2021, O-rings are back. We were so hopeful. We were so excited, just like when Kristian came back. O-rings
Whatever
came
that
back.
was, it's all working now. You guys are not
Oh.
digitized. I can hear you clearly.
Oh, okay. Well, let's start over again.
Oh my gosh.
From the beginning.
Yeah,
Right?
let's go all the way back.
Take it from the top.
So O-rings are back in November of 2021. Kristian is back in November of 2023. March 4th of 2022, the Haya Toys Exquisite Mini line is announced, and the Baroness Megatron crossover, which
was mind-blowing news for us.
For me personally, that is the biggest and best announcement in the history of this show, because it's something that I wanted ever since I was a kid. It was legitimate fulfilling of a lifelong desire. I'm happy with Classified, but I never wanted 6-inch Joes.
So was
I'm
it
happy
a
with
Joes and Transformers thing, or was it to
Yes.
fulfill all your fan fiction of Baroness and Megatron?
Why not both?
And I'm pretty sure with that news story, it was something that like we had seen rumors of the night before, and like
Yes.
right before we went on that day, it was confirmed that this is actually happening.
When I was a kid, and I've said this many times on the show as we've talked about these, and then when I reviewed the Transformers crossovers, I wanted Transformers that interacted with G.I. Joe figures so badly. Probably my number one want for a toy, period. And we've got them. And they're not exactly what I mean. Ideally, I want Optimus Prime as Optimus Prime and like Jazz as Jazz. But we have Transformers that interact with G.I. Joe figures. It's literal a dream come true.
When this is outside of the realm of G.I. Joe, but sort of is G.I. Joe adjacent, when the Alternators Transformers came out back in like 2001, I think was when the first one was released. They're 1/24th scale, and so are Mask figures. So I actually went and found.
Is that right?
Yes. The Mask figures actually stand like they're right. They look great right next to them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I collected alternators, and I didn't realize they were that big.
Yeah, they are. I mean, that was the whole big thing with that. They were 1/24th. They were licensed scale models.
Yeah, I knew they were licensed.
Right.
I just didn't realize they were mask size.
I just
They
didn't
seemed
realize that
smaller
we
than
could
that to
turn
me.
Mask figures and make the alternators like the male version of the Kiss line from Japan.
Oh my gosh.
Let's not get into Kiss play.
Oh, boy. And let me just tell you, I sold all of those alternators except for Shockwave for a pretty penny a few years ago. I got
rid of a bunch of mine just because they took up so much shelf space, and once I put them on a shelf, I never wanted to touch them again.
No, because they were a nightmare to transform.
Yep.
They were horrible Transformer toys, but so cool. So April 18th of 2022, Call Sign Longbow and Operation Recall. We covered those on the show. May the 6th of 2022, plastic-free packaging was announced. A day that will live in infamy.
I still like it. I
do
know
too.
a lot of people don't, but
I like the current packaging when they still had the twine holding the figures in.
yeah.
The plastic still drives me crazy because I feel like I'm going to break the figure just trying to get that bit of plastic off because I have to pull it up just enough to get my clippers in there.
And I have so many of them now, as I'm sure everyone in the chat does, but I'm going to miss the Footlockers because they have been really good for storing more than just my Joe stuff.
And
for the deluxe figures, they fit inside.
Yeah, that's true. May 20th of 2022, Cybertronic Spree announced their Ravage campaign, but no vinyl. But guess what? Now I've got the Ravage vinyl right over there on my turntable because it came out through Enjoy the Ride Records, and I think they've still got them in stock. And it's all original stuff. It's incredible. It's the album of the year, in my opinion.
And if you guys aren't following Cybertronic Spree's social media, you need to, because at their most recent concert, someone dressed up as the changeable fries
Yes.
from McDonald's.
Unbelievable.
That
Yeah.
greatest cosplay ever.
I should have saved a picture of that just to put it up. Another big date, June 3rd, 2022. Hasbro announces the Selfie series. Talk about mind-blowing. Mine's at the back of the shelf.
But supposedly version 2 now they can do facial hair. I don't know. The pictures I see of them, I still feel like
until they offer
they
different
look dead.
Until they offer different bodies, I will not buy another one. If I can get like a Cobra Trooper or a green shirt or Steel Brigade, just Steel Brigade. What are you doing? Put it on Steel Brigade. They've got male and female now. Like, seriously. June 17th, 2022, Tunnel Rat and Snow Job name dropped, which is interesting because we got them a little over a year later, and that was the name reveal for those two figures. And looking back, it looks like name reveals are around 12 months off. Call Sign Longbow completed that campaign on the same day. September 2nd of 2022, reaction figures went up to $20 a piece.
Depending on where you are.
Well, yeah, they're still $17.99 in
still.
Yeah, $17.99 in Target still, but from Super 7 they went up to $20.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on the newer waves are $20 at Target, but the older waves are still.
Oh, are they? I haven't seen.
Oh, I haven't seen any of the newer waves.
I haven't either. My Targets don't have them anymore at all.
And I don't know if I obviously missed this earlier when you guys talked about the reaction announcement, but including the chat, do any of your all's brains just your minds get blown when you hear Super 7 say that, like, they're announcing Wave 7 and Wave 8 because of all those army builders and everything else that they've released? It seems like we're on, like, Wave 30.
I know.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. This has obviously been the most successful reaction wave they have made.
Yeah.
But then when he turns around and says Wave 7, I'm like, what? Oh.
But that's what it is. There have been so many extras along the way because the troop builders have been kind of a separate thing because the Target didn't get those. It's been a ride. Let's see. Mandalorian Jedi selfie series. Why would I want an ugly face on a figure we already have Falcon to be disappointed in? Aw, somebody give Mandalorian Jedi a hug. Come on now. Speaking of which, Thor Golden Cub, Cybertronic Spree is incredible in person. They even hugged me during the concert walking down the front line. They are, if you get to see them in person, their live shows are incredible, and they are the nicest robots you will ever meet.
I'm still impressed. At Dragon Con when they performed, Hot Rod ripped off his pants and threw them out in the audience, and they crowd surfed his robot pants. Crowd surfed the audience for a good 30 minutes before making their way back up to the stage.
And they respectfully did.
Yes.
Yorktown Joe, they should sell the exact same classified figure and retro carded with good cards, early window boxes, and current packages, but with twine. See what sells the best as an experiment. I mean, we may not be too far off from that.
Hey, and I'm sorry, real quick. Daniel Rodriguez, what do I keep in my locker? Poly, Asian hookers, and blow.
Kristian,
Not for me. I have to do what I can to get through the day in the Terrordrome.
Kristian.
So it's bartering.
Anyway. December 2nd, 2022, we talked about Operation Monster Force. And finally, going back through our news, on December 16th of 2022, we took our first listener prompts leading to Sound Off. And guess who it was? It was Mandalorian Jedi, our very first listener prompt from Instagram. That was the genesis of the Sound Off segment. So there you go. I'm going to skip over our miscellaneous debris here. We've got.
I do think that the first one on the list is hilarious because
Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
we called it. We expected the coil to be repainted many times. Thankfully, we were wrong. We actually got a decent, ram cycle shortly thereafter.
We were absolutely wrong about that. All right, so that with a brief segue from the segue brings us to our next segment, which of course is the way we like to. Well, we're not going to wrap up the show, but it's our penultimate segment, and that is Sound Off. If you are following Audible Interlude podcast on Instagram, every time we're doing a live stream, we put up a post that says Sound Off, where we require your input as to what we're going to talk about for this segment of the show. So let me throw it up on the screen and see what we got this time around. We're kicking things off with something potentially a little controversial and something that I don't have personal experience with. We're not going to comment on anybody else's show, but from Wrath Gideon, time to have a serious talk about the future of toy prices, and are things getting out of hand in the wake of Mothership and Full Force having a mini meltdown over a comment on last week's show. An example are deluxe figures like Scrap Iron being prices at $45, actually worth close to 2 figures with his extras. Sure to get a bunch of comments on this topic. Did one of you guys want to take this one? First of all, we're not going to, I have not heard Full Force, and we're not going to comment on it without having seen what happened and went down, because we know how the internet works. No idea how legit this report is. My understanding is that the Full Force people are pretty nice, so mini meltdown doesn't sound like what I've heard, but I don't know. I wasn't there.
Yeah,
Noel or Kristian?
I haven't seen this. I did listen to their Mothership episode. Excuse me. And they talked with Brian Flynn about price, and they brought up, I think, a lot of the stuff that people don't think about as far as tooling and whatnot. And listen, I'm a collector on a budget. I absolutely understand ignoring stuff that's like Kickstarter and all that. The cost of regular figures does seem kind of crazy, but in doing a little bit of a deep dive of this today, when I was seeing comments talking about not wanting Super 7 to tackle O-rings because they will charge more than what Hasbro did, it kind of made me stop for a moment, because I'm like, wait a minute, Hasbro was charging $20-something.
They're $22 a piece, really, for them.
So
whereas there were
$3
each
more.
For the Super 7s.
Yeah, so $3 more gets you a classified figure, but nobody was. We didn't hear as much, I feel like.
People were complaining.
Oh,
people
were they?
Losing their mind. Look,
okay.
If
I think that's fair, but
if there's a dollar sign in front of it, G.I. Joe fans are complaining about it. I mean, that's just a fact.
Unfortunately, where we are in the world right now, like the cost of oil is higher. People don't think about this, but China has a growing middle class. So the people working in those factories aren't necessarily getting paid sweatshop worker prices anymore. And that all adds to the cost of the product. So I know, like, Super 7 had experimented and had, I can't remember if it was Thundercats, one of their Ultimate Waves they did at a factory at Vietnam. And the quality control was very different than what they got in China. So they said, hey, we tried. It was a mistake. We're going back to this factory, but we're going to have to raise the price.
So as a Lego collector, I can tell you, boy, you want to talk about people who get grumpy about prices, because Lego is not a cheap toy.
Lego has always been like very expensive.
But like Lego has done everything they can to try to keep prices on their unlicensed products as low as possible because they know they have to charge a premium for their licensed stuff. So, like, since I've really gotten back into Lego collecting since about 2007, if you can get stuff in like a regular stuff and it's 10 cents an element. So if it's a 500 piece set, you're paying, $50 for it.
Yeah.
That's fairly reasonable for most of their products. Now it also depends on the size of the elements and stuff like that. I get a lot of the bigger like modular sets where you got a lot of smaller pieces, and it might be it's a $230 set, but it's going to have like 5,000 pieces. So in those cases, you're paying a lot less. But they tried with some of their collectible minifigures because their stuff is all made in Denmark. But they actually outsourced some of their stuff to the Czech Republic, and the quality control just got terrible. So they were like, we tried. We're going back in-house because everything about Lego it's a lot more detailed. The tolerance on these parts, you don't have any wiggle room like you do with, a classified figure. If his the grip on his gun's a little big. I'm very big on the screen right now, and I don't like it.
You're big in Japan, Noel.
I'm experimenting with new things.
But yes, if his gun's a little big in his hand, then his hand just stretches a little bit more. In this case, you've got to have like perfect fault tolerance, and so yeah, they reined it all back in, and it's like, sorry, we're getting this to the best price we can. And I know a lot of people are going to complain about it, but
and my last thing to say about this, and we have mentioned it on this podcast, I feel like since we started, I get the notion of FOMO. However, you don't have to buy something that you don't like just because it's in this toy line. I was such a completist for years and years and years. And when I sold off a chunk of my toy collection, it changed how I see things. And
Yeah.
Even Dave was buying everything. And then recently you've become more selective. So
the blue ninjas are what
right.
That's what I was like, oh, I don't need all of this.
Yeah, going from 20 to 22.99 to 25, it's made me more selective about which classified figures I buy. But I still don't think that 25 is, unacceptable. Understanding what goes into it. I still kick myself at some of the things like the Viper 3-pack, which I mention all the time. That I paid way too much for.
Noel is obsessed.
Well, so
let it go. All right.
So I do have one more thing.
Okay.
I hope that Hasbro does not make the mistake that I feel like Mattel did with Masters Classics, where we have 12 figures a year. We have 2 oversized items, and then they started throwing in the extra subscriptions. I'm comparing those extra subscriptions to the deluxe figures. I think a deluxe figure a wave is manageable. It's fair. When you start doing 2 or 3 deluxe figures in a wave, or here's more deluxe figures in between your waves.
Well, Classics was doing like a Beast and a 2-pack and putting premium items out 3 at a time.
Right. It got
a year. It was too much.
Correct. And I feel like they lost a lot of, are you going to keep your diehards all in? Sure. But you're going to lose a lot of people. And I feel like they're trying to get as much product out as they can right now. Strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, they are.
I just hope that it sort of reins in a little bit, because I don't want, the fact that that like scrap iron is already kind of clearanced, and I feel like how many months ago did he come out? It's not even been 6 months.
He was clearanced within weeks of showing up at Target, but My concern is just that people who are like the last vestiges of people who are trying to be completists are going to give up when they just can't keep up with everything, and then that's going to crumble down the line. We got to get to some of these comments before they leave the screen. Sneezy the Squid, what is up, Gary? Hey guys, if I had the funds in a spare house, I would get that mothership. Toy Reclaimer, going back to Full Force, he got annoyed about a comment someone was being a contrarian about price of something. I can't imagine that happening. That sounds completely not like the internet.
He probably handled it nicer than we would.
Or
I would.
Well, okay. Mandalorian Jedi, are toy prices getting too high? Yes, and so is milk, eggs, gas, home prices. Yeah, everything is insanely overpriced right now, which I understand only adds to the frustration of our non-essentials being so expensive, but it's just what's happening. Everything is too expensive right now. It's madness.
Although eggs are super cheap right now. That was a thing for a minute, but like you can get 18 eggs for $1.79 now. So
I could not even begin to tell you off the top of my head how much an egg costs.
You don't
Rachel
eat nearly as many eggs
Salinas,
as we do.
I've never stepped on a gummy Lego. Well, Rachel, I have eaten a gummy Lego.
Well, Rachel, you need. I can't believe these words are going to come out of my mouth. You need to come to Florida and visit Legoland because their lazy river is full of soft gummy Legos that you can build a raft out of.
That's
and
amazing.
there are many soft Lego elements too. There's a lot of soft parts. So,
but your point stands that those are intentional. All of the things we just mentioned are intentionally gummy, as opposed to elbow joints or the C-shaped rifle that came with one of my Crimson Alley Vipers.
Although, don't get me started on the brittle reddish brown Lego elements. That,
no.
We
won't.
Gold
Yorktown Joe, gummy weapons
right
bad,
here.
Gummy Legos tasty. They are. Everything gummy is tasty. Mandalorian Jedi, maybe we need more cheap knockoffs like the Core. They always played nice with my Joes for a week or so. I'm all about like Leonard getting into the 1/12 game. Let's do it, especially for vehicles.
Surprised they haven't done it yet, honestly.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what as a kid, like I loved Transformers. I had GoBots first because they came first. Although people don't understand that. But then Transformers came along. But if you went into this toy store, there were a dozen different, like some of them were, knockoffs where they were actually not exactly doing things the most legal way. But a lot of them, like converters, were also just licensing stuff from Japan. They just weren't as big of a company. Like Select wasn't as big of a company as Hasbro or Tonka. So I loved being able to go to the store when I was a kid and seeing all those different competing lines. It made me love Transformers more. And I think I don't know how that would work today with kids if you walked in and you saw G.I. Joe, but then you saw like another line that was compatible with them and you're like, well, I'll get these too. And it just makes me love the toy more because kids don't play with toys like we did.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting. But yeah, to go back to that, I mean, think about all the different O-rings. There were Rimco, there were the A-Team O-rings, there were like
the Dukes of Hazzard O-rings.
Yeah, there was everything. All the Mego stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Daniel Rodriguez, so will Classified be done within 10 years? Yes, because everything will be done within 10 years. Thor Golden Cub, I'm all alone for a couple weeks. Roommate is out of town. Just wanted to say it's good to see friends. Also, why did you have to tell me about the Super 7 sale at Big Bad? You could spend hundreds of dollars and get tons of product. What's up, JJ? JJ Shoulder Height is here. My wallet wishes classifieds came in nice orderly waves. Yeah, you're not kidding.
Well, I had a question actually for the chat. So thanks to this podcast, going back and looking at how long certain figures were released, when did that change? When did it go from here's Flint, who's released from 80 to 80, like, a good 3 years that figure was available on the shelf. And now it's, here's your, for some targets, here's your one shot where they're going to be on the shelf. And then that's it. If you miss
Yeah.
it, you miss it.
I mean, distribution's so much different now, but the market's so much different now. You know, when
Yeah.
they knew they could put that stuff out, and there were just about every boy in America between the ages of 4 and 12 were buying GI Joe figures. It just appealed to so many people.
Well, we got to move on because we've got more sound offs to get to. Wreckship85 says, this may have been asked before, but what playset do you want Lenny to make into classified series at some point? It has been asked, it has been talked about, but I think we can always revisit this. Since you didn't specify, my answer is the Fortress of Fangs. Noel?
If it's going to be classified series in that scale, I think that the Checkpoint is probably a good sized classified toy.
So that's come up before.
Mm-hmm.
However, Checkpoint Alpha requires vehicles to interact with.
We have a vehicle coming.
We have a hiss and a helicopter.
No, we
They
have.
can raise the gate for.
Oh yeah, we've got the.
We have
You're
a
right.
vamp.
We've got the vamp.
We got a vamp and we got rams.
And the coil. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And a trouble bubble can, fly through. You're right. We do have vehicles. Good point. I would rather have the watchtower, but I do like Checkpoint Alpha. It's because it's got the 2 levels. So there's
I think anything at that
interactivity.
scale, the Cobra Bunker would be good. Anything that's one of those smaller play sets, I think.
The surveillance port, the bivouac, all that stuff would be
forward
cool.
observer.
We've talked about all that as like good world
Mm-hmm.
building elements. Kristian, anything specific and weird?
Yeah. So when I read this, the first thing that went through my head,
Kristian's like, in 1977, there was an underwater diving bell playset.
I am probably going the weirdest I've ever gone.
Whoa!
But it's not something pre-existing.
Okay.
My brain went to a classified scale kind of Mighty Max Polly Pocket moment, and I went, "Oh, Lenny's been such an integral part of G.I. Joe. What if we made Lenny into a playset where you open him up, and then there's the little battlefield and." Just like a Mighty Max playset, but classified scale. Because that's what happens when I'm reading these at work.
Gary's got a good point. Everything changed when Toys R Us folded. That is the answer to that question.
That is a very good point. Yeah.
That's what killed everything in this industry. That's what changed everything.
But I mean, that was also a byproduct again of toys were not selling to children like they used to.
Well, no, that Toys R Us wouldn't have gone under if it wasn't for all the financial chicanery behind the people that own Toys R Us.
Right. But I mean, also, with Toys R Us tried to get into the video game market, but no one was buying video games at Toys R Us because you were paying more for them there than you were at most places. The selection was not good. It was hard to it was hard to buy them from Toys R Us, just in general. But I mean, whenever I'd go into a Toys R Us for a while, it was just kind of a wasteland. Long before they were closing stores left and right.
Yeah, but again, that was just the horrible management and the fact that the people that owned it didn't care about trying to make money. They were just.
Although I do wish that as those last couple of years when Toys R Us was closing down, the one that we had over by our Mall of Millennia, like in the super touristy area, every time I'd walk through the action figure aisle, there were the 50th anniversary 2-packs. And I was so out of Joe at that point. And I just kept walking by being like, like $18 for 2 G.I. Joe figures? What? And now, I'm kicking myself.
I remember when Marvel Legends went up to 15 and I was like, I'm out. Never. Yeah. I'll never pay $15 for an action figure. That's ridiculous.
I know I've mentioned it before, but my G.I. Joe Dark Ages, walking in and finding all those 5 packs of Crimson Guards and Vipers and all that for $22. And I was like, I mean, that's cool, but that's too much money to spend on that.
And they're not, the ones I grew up with. These are some new, different, whatever.
No, but if I had those now, I mean, they still display great.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I
Yeah.
wish I was actively collecting then, and I skipped a lot of that stuff.
Mm.
Palpatine 1975. Greetings, gentlemen. Who's excited for their HasLab Hiss tanks to start shipping out? Of course we're excited. Of course.
I got a brand new Billy shelf, so I can move some of my classifieds over to it and get my my Hiss up over in my normal classified area.
Excellent. No Comply 1945. Speaking of Clown is Down, this is our buddy Pete, who will be on the show next week. In the vein of William Refrigerator Perry and Sergeant Slaughter, are there any real-world individuals, athletes, wrestlers, actors, actresses, you would like to see incorporated into the classified series? Kristian.
Okay, this is not sarcasm. I am not, I am dead serious here. I thought about this. I want Linda Carter, because as Wonder Woman in the first season, when she was like in World War I, where she was like a military office worker, I want Linda Carter as some sort of G.I. Joe base headquarters type person to
That would be
honor
awesome.
what she did.
I love that idea. But I want her as an O-ring so she can go in my headquarters playset.
For me, since what we almost got in the line was a fictional character of Rocky Balboa, I thought that also will work on this. And I would love to see either Hutch Mansell from Nobody or Cameron Poe from Con Air as a member of G.I. Joe.
Oh, yeah. I'm down with both of those, 100%. Although, Rachel, once again, coming in with the win. Brendan Fraser is Sergeant Stone.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to see that, 100%. My pick, so you guys, Doc is exhausted. Now, I know in some canons Doc is dead, but Doc is exhausted. He keeps having to sew up snake-sized holes in Duke. He has to invent everything to save the world from Cobra. He needs some help. And you know the perfect guys to come in and help Doc out with the inventing stuff would be Jamie Heineman and Adam Savage, the Cobra Busters.
Yes.
I've been binging Mythbusters, and I would love Adam Savage and Jamie Heineman figures.
Can we get a Grant Imahara figure?
Oh, we can get. I mean, eventually we can get everyone. Of course, we want Grant as well. But I get everyone in there. But Adam and Jamie, like, I could see. Just think of them as like Joe's answer to Dr. Mindbender.
Absolutely.
So those are my picks. And those are the ones I was mentioning earlier that would need to go to Florida to help Kristian out with all of his issues.
Just help Florida.
Mandalorian Jedi, we should make Clint Howard a G.I. Joe. He's an American treasure. Mandalorian Jedi, you might have gotten here a little late, but we determined that we already have Clint Howard in the classified line. There he is right there.
Clint Howard is a magical sea creature, and if you Google that phrase in quotes, you'll get to my website.
Oh my gosh. JJ Shoulder Height. Jackie Chan. I love that. I actually bought the Johnny, the Power Rangers Cobra Kai crossover figure to put his head on a Cobra body. Just to have that.
That'd be a great crossover. Oh, by the way, Scrap Iron's $26.99 on Bullseye right now. I just happened to see it on my browser.
Oh, nice.
I was thinking when I get my second mole rat in, it does bother me because it's like an individual head that, as a true builder, they will all look the same. So I am going to throw Falcon's head on the other one because I think that will work.
So there's
a little bit. Just as hideous as the other mole rat.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was going to say the one with the crystals growing out of his face is the lucky one.
Right.
Yorktown Joe, besides Skybound's Cobra Commander and Duke miniseries and the ongoing Larry Hama Real American Heroes story, will there be an ongoing G.I. Joe book tied to Skybound's universe? I'm sure there will. I would imagine the Cobra Commander and Duke miniseries and maybe even a couple more will lead up to it. But there's no doubt in my mind there's going to be an ongoing series.
So I thought about this one for quite a bit today, and I'm 100% thinking what you just said, Dave. However, I think I would like it more if they went like the Hellboy BPRD route. Do a couple of miniseries a year so that way you can focus on smaller teams. Tell your, each creative team that comes in can tell the story they want and then get out of there so that we don't run into those kind of
Yeah.
lagging.
I like that. And also go the Marvel route and just name each miniseries G.I. Joe and restart the numbering at one.
Let's
every
not
time.
do that. That gets confusing.
But yeah, I think there will be an ongoing series. But honestly, yeah, you know what, Kristian, I like your idea better. It's just an easier way to keep track of comics in a modern world. But we will hopefully find out a lot more about Skybound's universe very soon, right here on Audible Interlude. Robert Straben, I would love to see if we get Doc for the Joes. We will also get Scalpel for Cobra. I've been calling for that since Classified started. That's one of my biggest picks for Classified figures. Thor Golden Cub, I would love to see Chris Evans and John Cena honorary Joe. I would love a John Cena Joe, and I honestly thought after his gear at WrestleMania, that was entirely possible.
Well, and after they mentioned the Mattel Hasbro crossover, that was one of the things that crossed my mind is, hey, maybe we can get John Cena and a Joe.
Yeah, that would be great. Our pal Gary, he actually left this one last week, but it was our 100th episode special, so I saved it. With Big Bo on the way, assuming that Hasbro can't work out the Rocky license, who would you want them to place in that role, opposing Big Boa? A new character, or get another boxer MMA guy, or a wrestler, since we do already have Sarge? I don't know. Do you guys have anything for this one?
Asuka.
Oh, done. Let's go.
I was thinking Shayna Baszler.
Asuka, Shayna Baszler. Oh, Shayna Baszler would be an awesome Cobra.
Yeah.
I love that. Asuka would be probably Dreadnoughty or maybe one of the Arashikage if we're simplifying things. If we're being 80s style dum-dums. But realistically, like a Conor McGregor.
Yeah, and that's what crossed my mind when I saw this last week.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he's the ultimate heel. So
who's that Tyson Fury?
Right, but if he's supposed to be part of Joe, like
you're right. Yeah, this would be
someone
a Joe.
who will make me like Sergeant Slaughter more.
All right. Silent Interlude. What specialist is missing or underrepresented from the G.I. Joe team and should be represented with a new character, either in Classified or my go-to O-ring construction? I would love to see an armored, an armorer, someone who produced weaponry akin to Destro's original role for Cobra. He could be in charge of upgrading all the Joe's stuff to its full potential, codename Gunsmith, or codename Cobra Busters. Jamie Heineman and Adam Savage, bam, knocked out 2 sound-offs with 1 answer. I am the king of the world. But seriously, Noel, you got something for this one?
I was just thinking about when I was a kid and I was coming up with my own G.I. Joe characters. 2 of the ones that I thought really fit in was I had, and Chuckles kind of plays this role a little bit later on, but I was going with this before Chuckles existed, was like a secret agent member of the Joe team. He's an espionage guy, he's a master of disguise, but like, you see him in like the nice sleek suit. He's kind of James Bondish. I also like the idea of, because we've got a few guys that are, their secondary MOS is a mechanic, guys like Clutch and guys like Cross Country, but like a Joe mechanic. And the one that I came up with, he actually has a backpack that just carries a spare tire. So
I like it. Oh, wait. Rachel, once again, Butterbean versus Big Boa.
Yes.
And if they're going to make a Butterbean, he needs a little Johnny Knoxville sidekick so he can ask, is Butterbean okay? Which is one of the funniest lines from anything ever. Kristian, you got one for this one?
I did. So this one I actually had a hard time with because I was like, what is G.I. Joe missing? They're missing USO entertainment. So I
Yes.
thought we need a USO lady whose secondary skill is explosives, but her main skill is obviously entertaining. Codename Tap Dance, because she likes to leave hidden explosives everywhere and watch the cobras pop, pop, pop.
All right. Winona Ryder and her ping pong trick.
Yes!
Oh my gosh. And with that, that brings this installment of Sound Off to a close. Noel, Kristian, do you guys have a little Joe and Tell?
Got a little Joe and Tell.
All right. Then let's move on to Joe and Tell, sponsored by Slickalicious. Everybody check out Shop Slickalicious on Instagram. Who wants to go first? I'm going to try out this new, try to move things around here.
Noel.
Noel?
Okay, I guess I'm going first.
Noel, you're going first.
But we have Kristian. There we go. Now I'm big on the screen, just like I don't like to be. No, I this was actually because we did not do our Joe and Tell last week because we had such an action-packed episode. So this was something I was going to do last week, but I'm just wanted to Joe and Tell my little burgeoning G.I. Joe patch collection.
Oh.
So got some Tiger Force. This actually came out of for JoeCon in 2017, I think it was. We all did Tiger Force costumes, and this was in Orlando, and we could not have real weapon or like fake weapons, so we actually made tiger-based, like stuffed tiger-based guns. So we had little stuffed tigers in our holsters, and my friend Sarah had her. She was Tiger Force Big Brawler, and she brought a minigun made out of a tiger. So
that
we
is
had fun
great.
with that. But these are a lot of this is for costume stuff. Obviously, these Dreadnought ones we wore when we did our Dreadnoughts. Got my Ninja Force here. Got a few finest. Oh, this is some finest stuff that I put on my costumes when I have it. But we've also got a bunch of our other garrisons, and ironically, I do not have my own garrisons patch here.
What?
Well, I've given them all out to new members.
Oh, okay.
So we need to order some more. This is our Missouri, Kansas garrison, the Tiger Hawks. One of our Girls of the Finest promotions we did a few years back. JoeCon 2018, the end of an era from the very last JoeCon.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
Very sad. This is our Central Defense. They are in the Midwest, I think, Chicago, but they did a Cobra Kai styled one. 31st Carrier Assault Brigade. This is our Carolinas garrison. Their patch.
Oh, nice.
Another
Get the North Carolina on there.
Central Defense there. Capital Defense. This is our Virginia, D.C. area. The Renegari. And if you want some cool custom patches, I will cite him again. Patch Czar. Good buddy of mine. Also a member of the Finest who does these custom patches. He's the one that did our Dreadnought patches, and he can pretty much do anything for you at this point in time.
And who is having a 50% off sale, everything in stock on his web store. I think it starts on the 12th, maybe.
Is it the 12th? Yeah, I know it's coming up soon, but yeah,
I think it's the 12th through Black Friday. Everything in Patch Czar's store is going to be 50% off. Just follow him on Instagram. It's just Patch Czar on Instagram. Or is it Facebook? Is he on Instagram?
He's on Facebook.
He's definitely on Facebook. Yes, we know. So follow him on there and check out that sale. That's an incredible deal for very high quality patches. All right, Kristian, are you ready, or you want to save yours for last?
I am. No.
Okay.
So because it's Joe and Tell, I figured I should have something to show, even though this has nothing to do with what I want to tell about. Hasbro Pulse did finally ship their Snow Serpents, and I really like this figure. I know it's not gotten the most love, but thankfully my legs aren't a different color from the rest of it. Um, so yeah, but my tail part. So doing the deep dive into some of the pricing stuff today. One of the things I think that we have always prided ourselves on here is we like everybody to have fun. We like to be positive when we can and have actual critiques. So just I feel like for the fandom, please keep that in mind when you're on anybody's social media or YouTube video. As harsh as this sounds, read the room. Because if somebody loves something, they don't want to hear you poo-pooing it. So go, as much as I hate to say this, go to the people that you know will poo-poo it. Join them in getting it out of your system.
And have a poo-poo party.
Have a poo-poo party, a poo-poo platter party, and then, go back and just don't rain on other people's parades in this fandom, because man, today I saw a lot of negativity that I
Oh, really?
usually protect myself from on social media.
Yeah.
And no one that is doing a podcast or putting content out there for the fandom, no one should be subjected to that.
Ugh.
That's it.
Well, that's an excellent tell. Yeah, we're all in this together. We're all having fun with G.I. Joe. And speaking of having fun with G.I. Joe, so this a couple of weeks ago for our Halloween themed episode, or one of our spooky themed episodes, I discovered a vehicle that I really didn't have a whole lot of knowledge of. We talked about the Monster Blaster APC. I got one for what I think, and I know these are not the correct missiles on it. These are just what came with it. I need 3 more of the correct missile. But I had to have it, and I found it on eBay. Buy it now. Great price from compared to everything else. It's in really nice condition. It's really clean. The stickers are not in great shape. And unfortunately, nobody has reproduction stickers for this.
The Toy Hacks has not gotten to the Monster APC yet.
No, I sent him an email asking about it, and the tenor of the email was, we haven't done it, and I honestly don't know that we will. There was another repro place that had done it but were sold out and have no plans to do them again.
What?
Yeah. So for right now, I'm stuck with what I've got, but I love this thing. As I mentioned on the episode, it is basically the APC from Aliens, obviously toyed up a little bit, but I just love this design. It's got tons of troop. That's for carrying troops right there, but it's also a massive cannon for blasting monsters. I love this thing. I think it's great. It rolls nicely, and it's for coming out in, was it 93? I think it was 93.
94.
For coming out right at the end of the line, it is not like I never loved when the 2 little pieces here were really visible in the wheels, and they're kind of recessed in there. They're as concealed as they can be. The colors are not insane. I don't know. I just love this thing. It's great. I'm going to clean it up as best I can and put it on the shelf. Although it's pretty clean. Like, it's not, a lot of the stuff I've gotten is like, especially on treads that are on the back like this, are just filthy. And they're not. Like, it's in really nice condition for what it is. So I'm stoked. I have a Mega Marines Monster Blaster APC. And now, Kristian, what do I need now?
You need a Mega Marines clutch.
You are
to
correct,
drive
sir.
it.
You are 100% correct. With his bio-moldable armor or whatever.
With his bright orange, hey, shoot me coloring.
Yes. Let me try and get our screen back to where there it
Wait.
is.
Wotaj, you know what? I would be all about if they wanted to adapt some vehicles from Cops to fit into G.I. Joe Classifieds.
Well, what's funny is apparently, oh man, I think it's Boss Fight has the
They
copter
are.
license. Yeah, yeah.
hmm
Oh, well,
And Rachel,
Kristian, you can address this one, Kristian.
yes. So we all obviously fell in love with that. And on that episode, when we looked on eBay and we saw there was the Cobra version in the black and gold, I liked that even more. And it just so happens at the beginning of this week, I put a bid on one on eBay thinking I would totally get sniped, and I didn't. So it right now, according to FedEx, it's supposed to be here this Saturday. So next live stream, we'll probably take a look at that.
So yeah, Rachel Salinas, make sure you're back on November 20th for our next live stream, and Kristian will be Joe and telling the Bat Transport. Now, does it have the figures with it, or is it just the vehicle?
It's just the vehicle,
Yeah.
but I mean, according to the listing, like it's got all the missiles. I need to go back and look at it though if it's got stickers, but I'm good either way.
Yeah. Well, that is our show for the week. Everybody here in the chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us and contributing. Everyone who contributed to the super chat, once we hit our goal, which I've got to look again and see what it is, we're going to get some hats made with the new logo. Kristian and Noel, you know I love talking to you guys about G.I. Joe. Our music is by Andy Samford of electricminnowmusic.com. Follow us on Instagram at Audible Interlude Podcast. The pinned stories are where you can find our shirts to buy and help support the show. Not really financially, but by wearing our cool logos around. Follow us on X at G.I. Joe Audible. And Noel, why don't you tell us a little bit about The Finest?
I feel like I did talk about it a little bit, but The Finest is a G.I. Joe costuming group. We've got garrisons all over the United States, and we've actually got garrisons and squads throughout several other countries in the world. We raise money for a great organization called Canines for Warriors. If you ever thought about dressing up like your favorite Joe character, check out thefinestcc.com, the Finest Recruitment Center on Facebook, and help us in our great cause.
And Kristian, where can we find that toy photography that you do so well?
If you want to see some more Mega Marine stuff, check out Instagram under the name Legion Cub.
All right. Until next time, yo, Joe.
Go.